Welcome to this episode. Without mathematics, there would be no modern world to speak of today. There would be no cars, no buses or trucks, no airplanes, no modern buildings or skyscrapers, no ships or aircraft carriers or spacecraft, no modern music like pop, no digital age, no computers, no smartphones, no internet. So, who was responsible for this incredible, amazing, life-changing invention that gave humanity the technical tools and instruments to order its existence on the basis of sophisticated numerical calculations and measurements, including advanced numerical calculations and measurements, which form the very technical basis and foundation upon which the modern world is based? Who did this? For that answer, we turn to AI, ChatGPT. Why? Because its powerful algorithms can comb through literally billions of volumes of historical text and data to reveal hidden, suppressed facts about world history. And so the question we asked it was, could you give us an essay on the origin of mathematics, including the continent of its origination? Please include the ethnic identity of those responsible for this important breakthrough. And here was the response. Africa, the birthplace of mathematics. Mathematics, often referred to as the universal language, is one of the most essential intellectual breakthroughs in human history. It is a field that has shaped our understanding of the universe, informed our scientific progress, and laid the foundation for modern civilization. However, while many narratives of mathematical origins center around ancient Greece, India, or the Islamic world, a comprehensive examination of history reveals a profound truth. Africa, particularly Africa south of the Sahara, and Egypt, is the birthplace of mathematics. This essay delves into the deep roots of mathematical thought in Africa, drawing on archaeological discoveries, historical evidence, and cultural legacies, while emphasizing the ethnic identity of the groups responsible for these groundbreaking contributions. Mathematics is far older than most people realize, with evidence pointing to its existence long before the commonly cited mathematical milestones in other parts of the world. Africa, as the cradle of humanity, also serves as the cradle of mathematics. The earliest known mathematical artifacts, such as the Lebombo Bone and the Ishango Bone, demonstrate that Africans were developing sophisticated numerical systems tens of thousands of years ago. These tools offer a window into the ancient African mind, revealing a civilization deeply engaged in quantifying, organizing, and understanding the world. The Lebombo Bone, discovered in the mountains of what is now Swaziland, stands as the oldest known mathematical artifact. This small bone, which dates back approximately 35,000 years, contains a series of notches that are widely believed to represent some form of tallying or counting. Scholars suggest that this bone may have been used by early African peoples to track lunar cycles, making it one of the earliest examples of calendrical systems. The Lebombo Bone's age and its function as a tool for numerical record keeping make it a powerful symbol of Africa's early contributions to mathematics. The implications of this discovery are profound. Long before the development of writing, agriculture, or advanced tools, Africans were engaged in mathematical practices. The notion of tallying or counting represents an essential cognitive leap, one that allows humans to abstractly represent quantities, thus creating the foundation for later advancements in arithmetic, geometry, and even algebra. The fact that this breakthrough occurred in Africa further underscores the continent's role as the birthplace of mathematics. Even more striking is the discovery of the Ishango Bone, which was found near the headwaters of the Nile River in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This artifact, which is estimated to be over 20,000 years old, displays a series of notches arranged in a seemingly purposeful manner. Unlike the Lebombo Bone, which primarily serves as a tally stick, the Ishango Bone is far more complex. Some scholars believe that the notches represent a rudimentary understanding of arithmetic, possibly even multiplication, division, and the concept of prime numbers. The Ishango bone has been studied extensively, and while interpretations vary, many agree that it represents one of the earliest examples of a mathematical tool. Some have posited that the bone was used for keeping track of trade, while others suggest that it may have served as an early calendar. Regardless of its exact purpose, the Ishango bone provides clear evidence of mathematical sophistication in ancient Africa. Furthermore, the fact that this discovery was made in the heart of Africa, south of the Sahara, challenges the traditional narrative that places the origins of mathematics exclusively in regions like Mesopotamia or Greece. These early mathematical artifacts, the Lebombo and Ishango bones, provide tangible proof that Africa was at the forefront of mathematical development long before similar advances were made elsewhere. They also challenge the notion that early African societies were primitive or unsophisticated. On the contrary, the peoples of sub-Saharan Africa were developing systems of numerical thought that would lay the foundation for later mathematical achievements. While the Lebombo and Ishango bones provide evidence of early mathematical thought in Africa south of the Sahara, ancient Egypt represents the pinnacle of African mathematical achievement in antiquity. The civilization of ancient Egypt, which flourished along the banks of the Nile River, is widely recognized for its contributions to mathematics, particularly in the fields of geometry and algebra. However, mainstream narratives often downplay or obscure the African identity of the people responsible for these innovations, focusing instead on the influence of foreign invaders or traders. This section will emphasize the African, specifically Black African, identity of the ancient Egyptians and their pivotal role in the development of mathematics. The Erhind Mathematical Papyrus, dating back to around 1550 BCE, is one of the most important mathematical documents from ancient Egypt. This papyrus contains a collection of mathematical problems and solutions, offering insights into how the ancient Egyptians approached arithmetic, geometry, and algebra. The problems in the Rhind papyrus cover a wide range of topics, including division, multiplication, and the calculation of areas and volumes. These mathematical techniques were essential for the construction of Egypt's monumental architecture, such as the pyramids, which remain some of the most precise and enduring structures in human history. One of the most remarkable aspects of ancient Egyptian mathematics is the level of precision achieved in their geometric calculations. For example, the ancient Egyptians were able to calculate the area of a circle with a high degree of accuracy using a formula that closely approximates the value of pi. They also developed methods for calculating the volumes of pyramids and other complex shapes, which were crucial for both architectural and agricultural purposes. The ability to accurately measure and calculate the area and volume of land was particularly important in the context of the Nile River's annual flooding, which required precise land surveying and resource allocation. While the mathematical achievements of ancient Egypt are widely acknowledged, the ethnic identity of the ancient Egyptians has been the subject of much debate. In recent centuries, some scholars have attempted to portray ancient Egypt as a predominantly Mediterranean or Middle Eastern civilization, downplaying the African roots of its people. However, the historical and archaeological evidence suggests otherwise. Ancient Egypt, particularly in its formative centuries, was a predominantly Black African civilization, with strong cultural and genetic ties to the peoples of Africa south of the Sahara. The ancient Egyptians themselves referred to their land as Kemet, meaning the Black Land, a reference not only to the fertile soil of the Nile River, but also to the skin color of the people who lived there. The African origins of ancient Egyptian civilization are further supported by linguistic and cultural evidence. The ancient Egyptian language belongs to the Afro-Asiatic language family, which includes other languages spoken by African peoples. Additionally, the religious and artistic traditions of ancient Egypt share many similarities with those of other African cultures, particularly in the use of animal symbolism and ancestor veneration. These cultural connections further emphasize the African identity of the ancient Egyptians and their role as pioneers of mathematical thought. It is important to recognize that ancient Egypt did not exist in isolation. The development of mathematics in Egypt was influenced by and contributed to the broader mathematical traditions of Africa. For example, early populations who settled along the Nile River came from the interior of Africa, bringing with them knowledge of agricultural techniques, land management, and mathematical systems. The mathematical achievements of ancient Egypt were thus part of a larger African intellectual tradition that spanned the continent. While ancient Egypt is often the focal point of discussions about African mathematics, it is by no means the only African civilization to make significant contributions to the field. The Yoruba, people of West Africa, who inhabit what is now modern-day Nigeria, developed an advanced and intricate mathematical system that rivals those of other ancient civilizations. The Yoruba number system is based on a base 20 vigesimal structure, which is far more complex than the base 10 decimal system used in much of the world today. The Yoruba system of counting is highly sophisticated, involving the use of both addition and subtraction to express numbers. For example, the number 45 in the Yoruba system is expressed as 40 and 5, while 55 is expressed as 60 minus 5. This system demonstrates a deep understanding of mathematical abstraction and numerical manipulation. The Yoruba people used their numerical system for a variety of practical purposes, including trade, record-keeping, and even religious rituals. One of the most fascinating aspects of Yoruba mathematics is its connection to Ifa, the Yoruba system of divination. The Ifa system is based on a binary code of 256 possible combinations, which are used to predict the future and make decisions. Some scholars have compared the Ifa system to the binary code used in modern computing, noting the similarities between the two systems. The fact that the Yoruba developed such a complex system of binary representation long before the advent of computers highlights the intellectual ingenuity of African civilizations. The mathematical traditions of the Yoruba people are a testament to the diversity and richness of African mathematical thought. While their system of counting and divination may seem vastly different from the arithmetic and geometry of ancient Egypt, both systems reflect a deep engagement with the abstract principles of mathematics. The Yoruba, like the ancient Egyptians, used mathematics not only as a practical tool for managing their societies, but also as a means of understanding the cosmos and their place within it. The contributions of African civilizations to the development of mathematics are vast and varied, from the early numerical systems of Africa south of the Sahara, to the sophisticated geometry of ancient Egypt and the binary code of the Yoruba. Africa has played a central role in the evolution of mathematical thought. However, the legacy of African mathematics extends beyond the individual achievements of these civilizations. The mathematical knowledge developed in Africa laid the foundation for many of the later mathematical advances that occurred in other parts of the world. As trade routes expanded and cultural exchanges increased, the mathematical ideas of African civilizations spread beyond the continent. The mathematical achievements of ancient Egypt, in particular, were transmitted to the Mediterranean world, influencing the mathematical traditions of the Greeks and Romans. Greek mathematicians, like Pythagoras and Euclid, are often credited with founding modern mathematics, but many of their ideas were built upon the knowledge passed down from ancient Egypt. Pythagoras, for example, is believed to have studied in Egypt, where he was exposed to the mathematical and geometric principles used in constructing the pyramids and other structures. Likewise, the Greeks' famous system of geometry owes much to the earlier work done by the Egyptians, whose practical applications of geometry in land measurement and architecture formed a robust foundation for theoretical exploration. In addition to Egypt's influence on Mediterranean cultures, African mathematics had a ripple effect across the Middle East and into Europe. Trade routes, including the Trans-Saharan and Red Sea routes, were conduits for the transmission of mathematical knowledge. African merchants and scholars exchanged goods and ideas with traders from Arabia, Persia, and later the Islamic Empire, which became a key hub for mathematical advancement. The mathematical prowess of African civilizations, particularly in Egypt and Nubia, was well known and respected among these trading partners, and the knowledge exchanged in these interactions contributed to the later developments in algebra, astronomy, and geometry that would shape the Islamic Golden Age and, subsequently, Europe's Renaissance. One of the challenges of understanding the full scope of Africa's contributions to mathematics is the historical tendency to downplay or erase these achievements. This is particularly true for ancient Egypt, where there has been a concerted effort by some historians to de-Africanize the civilization. By casting Egypt as more Mediterranean or Middle Eastern, historical narratives have frequently undermined the African roots of Egyptian society, stripping away the continent's rightful place in the history of mathematics. Recent research, however, has made strides in correcting these misconceptions. Archaeologists, linguists, and historians have emphasized the African origins of Egypt's early populations, demonstrating that the civilization was, at its core, a Black African society deeply connected to its neighbors in Africa south of the Sahara. The architecture, religion, language, and art of early Egypt show strong similarities to those of other African cultures, particularly in terms of symbolic and cosmological beliefs. These connections point to a shared African intellectual tradition that was central to the development of mathematics in Egypt. The debate over Egypt's ethnic identity also extends to the portrayal of Nubia, a powerful African kingdom located just south of Egypt in present-day Sudan. Nubia, like Egypt, was home to an advanced civilization that made significant contributions to mathematics and engineering. The Nubians built massive structures such as the pyramids of Meroe, and their expertise in land management and architecture was well respected in the ancient world. Despite these accomplishments, Nubia's contributions to mathematics have been largely overshadowed by Egypt's dominance in historical narratives. However, Nubia's achievements are crucial to understanding the full scope of African mathematics. The contributions of Black African civilizations to mathematics extend well beyond Egypt and Nubia, and acknowledging this heritage is essential in reclaiming Africa's role in the development of global knowledge. The Yoruba, as previously discussed, demonstrate a completely different, but equally sophisticated, approach to numbers and mathematics. This richness of mathematical thought across different regions of Africa challenges the Western-centric narrative that often overlooks or diminishes African intellectual history. In conclusion, the evidence overwhelmingly supports Africa as the birthplace of mathematics. The early counting tools, such as the Lebombo Bone and Ishango Bone, stand as lasting testaments to Africa's foundational role in the development of mathematical thought, predating other known mathematical artifacts by millennia. The achievements of ancient Egypt, particularly in geometry and algebra, further cement the continent's role as a mathematical powerhouse. These accomplishments were not the result of foreign influences or invaders, but were born out of the intellectual and cultural traditions of Black African civilizations. Furthermore, the mathematical systems developed by the Yoruba people and other African societies provide additional proof that Africa's contributions to mathematics were both varied and sophisticated. These systems were not isolated achievements, but part of a broader African intellectual tradition that spanned millennia and influenced civilizations far beyond the continent's borders. Reclaiming Africa's rightful place in the history of mathematics is more than an academic exercise. It is an essential part of correcting the historical record and recognizing the profound contributions that African civilizations have made to human knowledge. By understanding Africa's role as the birthplace of mathematics, we not only gain a fuller picture of the history of this foundational science, but also challenge long-standing misconceptions about the intellectual capacity and achievements of Black African societies. Mathematics, as it is practiced today, owes a deep and undeniable debt to Africa. From the early tallying systems of the Lebombo Bone to the advanced geometry of ancient Egypt and the sophisticated numerology of the Yoruba, Africa has always been at the forefront of mathematical innovation. By acknowledging and celebrating this legacy, we honor the continent's profound and enduring contributions to human civilization. So that's it. That's where your math came from. You know, you have to wonder if some people are sitting somewhere around Silicon Valley or something right now, heads bowed in regret over the development of AI. It's singing like a canary. Thanks for watching this episode. Do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and look out for the next one on Africa's great civilizations.